Good morning and welcome to a very excited WhiteDetails. Silverstone. Just arrived at the Porsche Experience Day. We've got a GT pack, so it's GT3 RSs, I'm sure it was the other cars. But what we are limited to is no in-car footage, unfortunately, so you'll have to do the best we can from up there. We're on the balcony now. Behind me, you can hopefully see the test track. Nice setup for a cracking day. Lunch done in the canteen, very nice indeed. Reading the reviews online, how decent the food is, and I agree. So we have down here, we have Mark, this is the instructor, and we're on now on the way into the cars. Today is Friday. It is 6 days after my Porsche event, but I've just realised that I haven't re-recorded the outro, the conclusion to this Porsche Experience Day video. I did record something at the time, at the centre. I was back up on the balcony with my back to the track, and I ran through sort of the procedure of the day and sort of the best parts, my favourite parts. But yeah, apologies about the wind noise. The microphone on the Canon, it's a G7X, it's an internal mic, so I really ought to be looking to invest in a bigger camera with an external mic that can sit on top to drown out the muffled wind noise and help better sound quality. And also, there's not a great deal of car footage as much as we tried. A big thank you to my dad. It was hard work for him actually. He was having to run around from sort of point A to point B to point C, back to A, back to C, back to B, back to C, to try and keep track and try and keep up with where my movements were, where I was going. And thank you to one of the instructors for actually giving Dad a few tips as to the locations of these areas, because they're normally sort of not out of bounds, but they're just off the road around the corner, which you can't really find unless you've been instructed and know where they are. Hence why we've got footage from sort of the main track area looking off the balcony of the pavilion. There's the wet skid pan course with the sprinklers, and there's the back course, all of which it's a 5-10 minute walk or a quick blast in the car, so Dad was chuckling around. So apologies about the wind noise, hence why I'm recording this here now at work and not using what I recorded there and then, because it was just hard work to listen to and pick out what I'm actually saying. And also the jerky footage, the more this camera is zoomed in, it's a great little picture, it's nice and clear and crisp and sharp, but the more we zoom in, the more the quality goes down. So all in all, a great day, very fun. Drive time there was 150 minutes, I think it was, on the paperwork. It was plentiful and thoroughly enjoyed it. So the first car of the day was the 997 GT2, which is a manual. The second car, the 997 GT3 RS, which is a manual. Then the red version, the red car, was the 991 GT3, which is the PDK flappy paddles. All three vehicles fantastic. There was supposed to be a fourth, which is going to be the Targa, the four-wheel drive Targa Carrera, but it was nearing the end of the day. There was no one else booked into the 991 GT3 after my session, so that is the daddy, that is sort of the better of the two cars, the Targa and the GT3, so we decided to hog it and get more use out of that. So there was the agility track itself, which there's a bit of footage of, albeit from the pavilion looking down. I did ask the question as well about can we put the GoPro in car, but for sort of insurance and if anything goes wrong purposes, it was a bit of a no-no. The agility track is very up and down. There's off camber, hairpins, short, sharp blasts to get a bit of speed up and heavy braking sections. A real cool little pump track, if you will. Off the agility track, we go up onto the kick plate, which is where the sprinklers and the water section were. It's difficult to make it out in the video, but the start of it, there's 2 meter, 3 meter by 1 meter deep kick plate in the floor, which as the plate senses the vehicle's gone over it and the rear wheels on the plate, it will shunt 4 feet to one side, 3 feet to one side, to initiate loss of car control. And that's in the case of you having to catch it, keep going straight, and then you've got 150 yards of playtime, as we call it. The red tarmac, it's to simulate ice, and it was very slippy. So we was doing a few runs with all the systems on, and it allowed you to play, allowed you to get sideways. Then we did a few more runs with stability on, traction off, all the systems off, hence why I'm spinning and doing pirouettes as seen in some of the videos. Albeit good fun and a bit of an eye-opener. As soon as you lose that traction with all the systems off, you just spinning the wheels up, and it was a case of using the minimal throttle to be able to balance the car, to balance the throttle, to turn the vehicle on the throttle. I got it right sort of 3 or 4 times, quite rewarding, but on the most part. So that's the ice simulation session. At the back end of the course, which is a drive away from my dad to hop from the sprinkler section to the back course, he had to sort of work out where it was all going. But then there was some work with the hands movement, so hand positioning leading up to oversteer. So we'd be doing some hand movements and practicing in the hand placements rather than just let the wheels slip through your hands. Doing some of that, and then we was using that portion of the track to do a few drag races and launch controls. In the 991, the GT3, obviously launch control, I don't know what the speeds we were doing, but the thing stops on a dime. I think the brakes were probably the most impressive part of the car. Carbon ceramics, and it felt like my brain was coming out of my nostril. You really just, the cars are abused. I mean, they take it, don't get me wrong, but very impressive. There's a bit of a blast around the back there, and then we got back onto the main track. So this is in the GT2, the GT3 RS, and the GT3. Probably the most fun part of the day for me was the slowest part of the day, actually doing the low traction stuff. We only just, well, I discovered it towards the end of the time in the 991. There's a few clips of me in there, albeit it's out of shot, it's out of sight from the pavilion for Daddy, couldn't get the camera in there. There's a picture of me doing initiating a donut or a slide. It's a 200 meter track, which is again a very highly polished surface with sand thrown on the edges and the apex to help that loss of car control. For you then to be able to connect one slide into the next, to go into the big bowl and keep going around. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Now we did a few flying laps and hot laps with Mark, the instructor himself. Very impressive. So I was probably putting the cars to, I was about 70% on my own personal ability and probably dabbling 40-50% of the car's ability, which was highlighted when we went out with Mark and he took me around, I think in the second car, the GT3 RS and the 991 GT3, and it hurt my head. It really did. It was unbelievable. During my time behind the wheel, his explanations of changes and movements in the vehicle's balance and what I was doing, his senses were unbelievable. He'd be able to know exactly what was wrong just by feeling, hearing, watching my hand movements. He was very impressive and sort of made for an enjoyable day, very much so. Thank you very much for the experience of the Porsche Centre. Thank you to my dad for coming along and helping with the filming and logistics. So all in all, I think that's pretty much covered it all. Yeah, a great enjoyable day if you've not been already. Very much a worthwhile experience. All the information is going to be down below. I'll post a link to the Porsche Experience website. It was the GT Experience Day. They do sort of the Boxer Experience Day, the KNs, the off-road sort of stuff. If you're new to the channel and wondering what is WhiteDetails, vehicle detailing and based in Lincolnshire, UK. This is a Focus RS. It's number 8 Focus RS I've had here for the new car prep, and it's going through a 2.5 day preparation as a new car. So it's had the full safe wash decontamination. It's receiving a single stage machine polish to cleanse the paint and exfoliate the paint, if you will, in order to then layer multi-layer paint protection with the wheels, the calipers, the exhaust protection, interior leather fabric and the glass. If you've not already, please subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up on YouTube. All the information is down below. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.